Man, what's cracking, gang? It's T Nasty, and I'm back with another banger for you guys. Welcome to the State of the UFC address. As the self-appointed president of MMA YouTube, I had to step up and say something that needs to be said. I'm fucking pissed, y'all. I'll keep it 100. I've been brewing on this video for a few weeks now, and last week we got some news that was the final nail in the coffin for me. But we'll get to all that in a minute. Now, I don't mean to get political with y'all, but I got some shit I need to get off my chest. The absolute state of the UFC in 2024 is about as down bad as it's ever been. I've been a fan since I was literally a child, and I have never seen it this bad. I'm at the point where I'm skipping cards, and if you know me, you know that's fucking crazy. At this point, the Contender Series is better than some of the pay-per-views, let alone all the fucking Apex cards, but once again, we will get to that. For real though, if you're an MMA fan and you're not watching the Contender Series, you're playing yourself. That shit is fire. But I'm here today to give you guys a rundown of all the problems I have with UFC in 2024. This is going to be broken up into 5 parts: the pay-per-views, the main events, the matchmaking, the Apex, and the champions. My blood is just boiling sitting here thinking about the audacity of Dana White and the matchmakers. Let's get into this, y'all. Starting off with the pay-per-views. It has just not been a great year overall. There has been some hits like 298, 299, 300, and 303, but most of the other pay-per-views this year have been ass, besides a couple that were decent. So let's take a closer look at every pay-per-view main card so far this year. 297 in Canada was just hot ass. Even the prelims were terrible, then the main card was boring, and the main event. On the night we all thought Strickland vs DDP was a banger, but in hindsight it was just because the rest of the card was so terrible it made them look better. 298 was actually pretty good. Costa vs Whitaker was a banger, Topuria KOing Volk was a crazy moment, totally memorable card. 299 was awesome. Dustin vs BSD was a scrap, and my boy Sugar Sean put an all-time ass whooping on Cheeto. And 300 was of course an incredible card, one of the only things saving the UFC this year. Every fight on that card delivered, stacked with former champs and big stars. Max Blessed got the KO of the year, and we saw the most impressive KO of Poetan's reign so far. Amazing card, I'll give him that. Then from there it just gets rough. 301 was meh. Erceg got robbed in a mid-fight. I don't even remember anything else from that card. 302 was so trash. Dustin vs Islam was a classic, but it genuinely hurt me when Dustin lost. Y'all know I'm a Dustin Glazer as well, so I couldn't enjoy that. It was a good ass fight though, and it saved the card for sure. 303 was another banger headlined by a Pereira KO, but that was the last good one this year. 304 was boring except for Patty and Aspinall's performances. Shout out to Blah though, but that fight was mid. 305 was pretty mid as well. Dan Hooker had a memorable performance, and DDP dog-walked Fraudesanya, no pun intended. But the rest of the card was trash. 306 had decent prelims, and the Sphere was awesome, but the title fights were ass, and I'm still salty about Merab beating my boy. And then 307 was pretty mid, except for Poetan again. Pretty much the only thing saving the UFC pay-per-views in 2024 is Alex Pereira. If it wasn't for him, this would be the worst year ever. And next up, we got the main events. Bro, the UFC has never had main events this bad. What the fuck are these main events, bro? They just announced Neil Magny versus Carlos Prates as the main event of Apex 100. What the fuck is that? Who asked for this shit? Nobody wants to see Neil Magny main event, especially in the Apex. I don't want to see Neil Magny fight at all. I fucking love Carlos Prates. Like, I'm sorry, bro, you're cool as fuck, but you can't even save this shit, dude. I swear to God, if I see Neil Magny cage clinch his way into a win at Apex 100 against Carlos, I'm fucking done. I'm changing the channel to T Nasty MLB. The UFC main events in 2024 are fucking cooked, boys. Of every card this year, we have seen 6 flyweight main events, 4 women's main events, and 4 heavyweight main events. Fucking Marcin Tybura main evented twice this year, once against Sergey Spivak. They insist on putting all of the good-ass Fight Night main events on pay-per-view main cards, and we're left with this shit for main events at the fucking Apex. We used to have it so good, boys, I swear. Y'all COVID fans don't know how good it used to be. Just please, matchmakers, start putting big fights in main events. No more flyweights, no more women, no more heavyweights, no more Marcin Tybura and Sergey Spivak, and please God, no more Neil Magny. Now for the matchmaking. I am so tired of the lazy ass shit we have seen this year. There have been so many rematches for absolutely no reason. They're constantly making the most boring possible matchups they can. They match up MVP on the biggest pay-per-view of the year against Ian Gary, for example. Like, wow, that fight was so boring. Who would have thought? It just seems like they've been phoning it in with the matchmaking this year. It's like they don't even want to make exciting fights. There are so many good matchups they could do for the rising prospects, but they insist on matching them against guys like Neil Magny, which is like, yeah, they'll probably finish him, but that's not even impressive anymore. And there's a decent chance he stinks it up and kills their hype. They also are constantly bringing in promotional newcomers on short notice when fighters who are on the roster and would be sick matchups are on Twitter saying they want the fight. But the UFC doesn't do it for some reason. I don't know, I just don't get the decision making this year. There are so many amazing matchups they could do, but they just go with the boring options. Nobody wants to see Chandler vs. Oliveira 2, make Oliveira versus Hooker. Matchmakers, you're cooked. Alright, now, this part has me extremely hot. I am sick and fucking tired of the Apex. It was cool at first, but it's getting old. Nobody wants to see another whack-ass fight night in the empty Apex. It's cool for smaller shows like the Contender Series, but a UFC fight night deserves to be in a crowded arena. The atmosphere of a crowd adds so much to the enjoyment of the broadcast. Back in 2020, when they first started using the Apex, it was so cool. It was like an underground fight club. But those times are over, Dana. Get your head out of your ass. Now it's just so fucking boring. Apex cards are almost unwatchable. It seems like the fighters don't try as hard in there or something. I don't know if it's just because of the dead atmosphere, but even the fights aren't as entertaining when they are in the Apex. The UFC needs to quit phoning it in, quit being cheap, quit being greedy, and start traveling the world again with events. It's time. Big 2024, and they are still doing Apex Fight Nights. They just announced the first Apex Fight Night of 2025, so don't expect it to be going away anytime soon. And the last thing I want to talk about is the champions. So many titles have changed hands this year, which is normally super exciting, but I think we may have one of the worst crops of champions we've had in a long time. We got Pantoja, who all of a sudden got boring after becoming champion. We got Merab, who is boring as hell and is ducking Umar. We got Ilia Topuria, who is a wannabe McGregor and is likely going to be an inactive champ if he beats Max next weekend. We got Islam, who is a great champion, he's one of my few exceptions. We got Bilal, who is my fucking boy, but we all know he can be a tad bit boring himself. We got Dricus, who is pretty cool, I'll let him slide, but he's got a bunch of rematches ahead, no clear new contenders yet. We got Poatan, who is the GOAT, he's been carrying UFC this year on his back, he gets a pass. And then horrible John Jones, who fights once a decade against Stipe and then just retires. At least we got Aspinall, but he should be the real champ, and Dana needs to slap Glazing John. Overall, almost every new champ this year is looking to have a pretty boring reign, and most of the champs going into 2025 are lame as hell. We also lost out on some great champions this year, especially my boy Sean O'Malley. I love you, Sean, but you really let us down. I know you're better than Merab, and you're going to get that one back someday, but for now, I'm done being upset, and now I'm just pissed. Get over your torn labia and come knock Merab the fuck out and save the UFC. 2024 will be remembered for a few things. Record high inflation on the pay-per-view prices, Alex Poatan Pereira carrying the UFC on his back, Sean O'Malley breaking my heart and getting fraud checked, fucking Neil Magny, mid pay-per-views, horrible main events, unnecessary rematches, and pointless matchmaking, so many Apex main events, and some terrible new champs. So it's looking bleak for the UFC in 2025, gang, but if we get some stacked pay-per-views, better fight night main events, improved matchmaking, eliminate Apex fight nights, and get some better champs, it might just be a good year. With all that being said, thank you guys for watching the State of the UFC address. I am your self-appointed president of MMA YouTube. I apologize for the negativity, but the state of the UFC is at an all-time low, and the future of our sport hangs in the balance, so I had to say what needed to be said. Let me know down in the comments what your least favorite thing about the UFC in 2024 is and what needs to change in 2025. If you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell, become a member, duplicate your account, and then repeat all those steps for me. And if you don't do all that, then you're just a casual with all due respect. We are on the road to 250 subscribers, so you know what to do to that button if you haven't already. Only casuals are not subscribed to my channel. As always, you're welcome for this delightful content and these 100% accurate takes. I'm out. Take it easy, gang.